Well, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Love Us Anyway. So, I'm here today. My name is Fantasia, and I typically have Donna Ray and April alongside. But today, I am loving me anyway. And in doing so, I wanted to talk about, celebrating love. Celebrating love. And so I'm so glad that you're tuning in. And in celebrating love, I want to chat about and connect about resilience and how we can choose love even when it feels tough. So grab your tea, your coffee, dim a light, light a candle, incense, sit back, and we'll dive in. I know I didn't give you enough time to do all of the things that I just mentioned. Maybe you want to pause it, come back to it. Whatever that feels and looks like for you. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, as I sit here, I'm reflecting on the journey of life. And in this reflection, I can't help but think about the power of love and why we should choose love, especially when it's hard. And so, why does love need to be at the center of all that we do? I say that all the time. I'm like, love is at the center. I love people down, and I can love them from afar too. And love isn't just something we feel, it's something we choose. And I choose to love moment by moment. And choosing love can look different depending on where we are in life. And sometimes love means forgiveness. I've done a lot of that. Sometimes it means being kind to ourselves when we fall short. I've fallen. And other times, love is about creating space, space for ourselves, space for others, space to grow. Seeds are planted and they need water and all of that to grow. But there's this thing. There's this thing in choosing love. And in choosing love, it doesn't always mean we have to be in close proximity to somebody. I said earlier, I can love you from a distance and not apologize for it. We had an episode talking about apologizing. Sorry, not sorry. And yes, I said it. Love somebody from a distance. It's about setting boundaries and respecting our own well-being. And like I said, not apologizing for the space that we need. There's been so many times that I've taken space from people, from things. And not that it is an easy thing to do because it's really not, especially when you love people. Um, I've had to do it in so many capacities, and I also had to protect myself in that. And I think a lot of us are conditioned to feel like we need to apologize when we set boundaries, when we take time for ourselves, or when we step back to protect our peace. Oh, Lord. So often I find myself protecting my peace. And so often I find people not understanding the need for just that. I would want people to do the same if they needed to protect their peace and I was someone that they needed to love from a distance. I'm okay with that because I know what it feels like. I've experienced it. And I also want people to be okay with it too, in whichever way it may fall. And sometimes people need a bit of explanation to understand your reasoning behind protecting your peace. And that's up to you whether or not you want to give them reason, right? And it may not be in that moment or season. Maybe it comes around at another time. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm a firm believer of protecting your peace. And I just want to offer you all, whoever is listening or watching, a gentle reminder. You do not have to apologize for choosing you. I'm not going to apologize for choosing me. I'm just not. I'll choose me every single time. And once upon a time, I didn't choose me. Once upon a time, I chose everybody else and everything else and worrying about how they would feel. I worry more about how I feel now. And so love sometimes looks like saying no to what drains you or who drains you, and saying yes to what fuels your soul. What's good? It's okay to step away from a toxic situation to create space between you and someone who might not be treating you with respect, and to do so in a way that still holds love and compassion. I've had to step away from toxic people. I've even come back in contact with said toxic people. And sometimes people identify that they are the toxicity. And when they recognize that and do the work in it, then maybe we could talk. Maybe we can come back around. And sometimes people don't recognize it or want to believe that they are it. And in those areas and relationships, I will love you from a distance. And so just bringing this back to the heart of this podcast. Love us anyway. Love me anyway. I'll love you anyway. And so that's the theme of today, right? And for me, it's also a reminder that even when things aren't perfect, and I always say that I am perfectly imperfect. And so when things aren't perfect, or when people aren't perfect, because we are not, we're flawed. Love should still be at the center of all that we do. Love isn't about waiting for others to be perfect or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about choosing to love anyway. Choosing to love anyway. So you say, Fantasia, love is a choice? Absolutely. And speaking of love, I can't help but think of a powerful verse from the Bible that reminds us of this. And so the New International Version of 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14, do everything in love. Isn't that sweet? I don't know, it's sweet for me. And let all that you do be done in love. So even when it's difficult, even when you're faced with challenges, let love guide you, not take over you, guide you. And it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And when we choose love, genuine, authentic love, it transforms not only our lives, but the lives of the people around us. And my practice supports me. This mindfulness awareness of my peace, the love that I have in my heart, and it makes me feel good. And just speaking of feeling good and speaking of transformation and celebrating love, I want to share something personal with all of you. So I'm approaching another milestone, and it's got me reflecting on my journey. So last year, as I was turning 40, so yes, that means this year I'm turning 41. We're in 2024. I celebrated in a way I'll never forget. It was a weekend full of just the people that were supposed to be there were there. I'll say that. It wasn't about big gifts. It was filled with something much more meaningful, and it was love, laughter, good vibes. Not one time did I argue with anybody. Not one time was there a disagreement. Not one time did it come up that my, my time needed to be split or shared. You know how when you give a party or an event, like everybody that comes for you wants a little piece of you, and then somebody probably gets upset because they didn't get to take a picture or they didn't get to talk to you as often or as much as they wanted, and they traveled all this way and they just wanted you, and none of that. Everybody connected with each other. Everybody loved on one another. People met new friends, and it was a good time. Now, mind you, I don't know if anything went on in the background, but what I experienced was the best birthday ever. It was so good. It was one of the most memorable birthdays I've had so far. And what made it so special was the love I felt from the people around me. I love y'all. I love my people. They were super dope. The people that showed up was supposed to be there, like I said earlier, and you all know who you are if you're listening. It reminded me that love is what truly makes milestones like that one stand out. And I long for that feeling every single time I step into a new year now moving forward. I know what it feels like, and I don't want to feel anything less. A new chapter. And as I approach this new milestone of my own, I'm holding on to that love, that joy, that peace, and wishing for even more of it. Nothing less. Nothing less than that. It's a reminder that love isn't just something we give to others, but something we cultivate within ourselves. It's what makes life, it makes life worth living, even when things get tough. And last year, or was it this year? No, it's this year. We're still in 2024. The top of the year when I had my dinner in love for Facts Wellness and Retreat Center, I was featured in an article, and the journalist named me the Love Ambassador. I laughed and I was like, Love Ambassador? That's not me. And then I told a few people, and they were like, no, that is you. Is it me? I don't know. Let me put it in quotation marks or something. But yeah, so just as I move forward, I choose love. I choose to love myself more deeply. I choose to love others with intention, and to always, always choose love. So even when it's hard, and sometimes it gets really hard, right? Even when it requires setting boundaries, and even when it's not the easiest path to take. So I say you. What do you choose? Love for yourself, for others? Give it some thought. And before we wrap up, I want to ask another question or two or three or four. I don't know. I'm not counting. But how can you choose love today? Not just in the easy moments, but in the moments when it feels challenging. How can you love yourself? How can you love others and create space for love to grow in your life? Plant the seed, water it, give it some sun and all of the other elements, and watch it grow in love. And just remember, love is not just something you do, it's a way of being. And I think that's one of the reasons why that love ambassador kind of sticks a little bit, because I'm intentional about being in love with myself, with people, and being okay with also loving all people and some from a distance. And so, no matter where life takes you, I want you to hold on to this truth. Love us anyway. Love yourself anyway. Even when it's difficult, even when it feels like the world is testing you, choose love. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in today. And as always, I'm super grateful to share this space with you. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share with a friend who could use a little love today. And don't forget, the love you give to the world starts with the love you give to yourself. So until next time, I'm wishing you all love, laughs, good vibes, taking care, and remembering to love us anyway. Later, y'all.